Hello everyone, this is BBEnk, and I made a video earlier on universal builds, and I left something out that might be helpful to some people on the types of games you make, mostly for a single scene game. Now, on a single scene, you may not want to you may have a background like this, and this is really crude. This is all done with just the regular actors, actors on the scene. These are clouds, these are trees, you got the ground, and you got some buttons. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn my rules off. I already set things up, but I'll explain it. So, what would happen in a normal game when you're playing? You might do iPad, but if you change it to landscape, letterbox, you get the letterbox effect, but everything is still centered. And of course, overscan it, you lose your controls, which I hate. And stretch, of course, stretches it out. So what we're going to do is, because sometimes you may want everything to stay centered on a single scene, like, I don't know, like Donkey Kong or something like that, or even like Pac-Man, or whatever kind of game you're working on. And if you're using the camera setup thing that I'm doing, I'm going to run this. Like the beginning scene here is, it's iPad and that's good. But if I change it to landscape, use stretch. Now my first scene is going to set up right. See, it still centers. But this one is all stretched out. And so if we turn on the little camera rule right here and do it again, change it to landscape, iPhone 5 landscape, using stretch, reset, everything's centered. Now, on this scene, everything gets bigger to the right, and you can see my controls set up, which is fine, because I got a rule in there already, but the background is not centered, and you may not want that. You may not want to put a rule in this whole thing to move everything to the center for, say, if this is going to be the whole game. And you may not, I think there might be problems with letterbox on Apple, and it just looks bad. Letterbox just looks bad, I think. So what you can do is come in here and you can create a new attribute, and you're going to change the current scene camera origin X to scene camera origin X minus game. You got your game offset that you created divided by 2. And this will move the camera to the left. Your camera will still be wide, it'll still stretch out like so, using stretch, reset, everything's centered. But now your camera moved to the left, so your game is still centered. And you've faked the letterbox. And you notice we lost our control here. So what I need to do is go back in, and we can actually tell the control to only move half. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it into these controls also. Edit, paste. But I want this one to go negative half. And I want this one to go negative half, because the camera is moving to the left half of the offset. And everything is fine in iPad mode, because remember I'm building an iPad, that's where I always start. And there is no offset. Offset is 0 at the moment. So when you do landscape, iPhone 5, reset, and now you've got everything set up. And then the camera moved to the left, so the only thing you're having to move is the HUD. And if you had like a live thing, you would do the same offset, negative offset. A pause could be a positive offset up here. But you still have a letterbox effect. So what you could actually do, this is usable space now, unlike when you're using letterbox in Gamesalad. So you could actually put something back there, like I'm going to make it a different color so you can see it. I'm just going to make it this color. And I'm just going to go ahead and center it up. So it would be 512, 384, And I want to make it 1400 by 768. And I'm going to tell it to, actually, I don't have to do anything because it should stay. I'm going to drop it in here, center it up, and I'm going to put it in a lower layer so it can't be, it's behind everything. And now you can see it up here, but of course right now it's completely hidden because of the camera. So if we start the game, and you can't even see that background right now because we're in iPad mode. Now if you went to landscape, stretch, reset, now you can see it on both sides. So that's usable space. And if you wanted to, you could actually take advantage of it in your game just by, oops, went too far. You know, you could always come here to this and make this wider. This could be 1400 when you run it. You know, it's fine right now. Everything's good. Landscape, stretch, reset. And now that covers the whole bottom also. So you can build your game, and you could always just put, if you didn't want to add more gameplay over here, you could just put some kind of a wall here. You know, that way when people have wide screens, you know, like the iPhone 5 or 6, you know, and it'll do the same thing on 6, it don't matter. It works on everything. They'll see something nicer over here. I did something similar on one of my games that I made for the Game Jam. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you what I did. Gamesalad, yeah, games, game jams, and Invaders from Space. I got a lot of unfinished games, mostly just playing around. So, and you can see on the play field, I've got a background here. I made the game so it would fit on the, excuse me, on the arcade. So what it does is when you just play the game, oops, got the little, nope, what did I just do? Okay, so it looks normal like this, but if I change it, say iPhone 6 landscape, stretch, reset, see, I put a background over here. That way I didn't have to make this any wider, and I've got some, and there's blockers here to keep everything going too far, and it'll just play. It kind of looks like an old arcade cabinet, but the controls are still, you know, they moved, so there's plenty of use there, so you can use them or whatever. And then you can, you know, see, it only goes so far to the left, and it'll only go so far to the right, but the little UFO can go all the way across because it, you know, it's moving across anyway. But that's how that works. That's how it can be useful. And like I say, you could always just add more stuff into the game if you wanted to. You can move things, like I can move those trees further to the left if I wanted to, or whatever. That's just another way to do it. So all you're doing is adding one more little thing in here, which is this here, the camera offset. And you're just going -half. And you can do, you know, and you can do the same thing in portrait if you want to set it up that way. Anyway, that was just a little tip. Hope it's helpful.